tuni na hiya JD Vance Thugenna to kisai get nom hangi reaction ni dia ma mi te chi dan le reaction expert chi khoi no hangina lungsima om chi mai ni ngai sut na khat gen pong leng chi wat hangina JD Vance ichi pen tu lai takina US Vice President pahi ma ama pen naw pang ma lai ina lamit ma lai khat ina tu nga Munich Security Conference tu gen na nasya ma sai tu khat học son Nigeria again chat na khat ni ma mangi JD Vance ama sai na JD Vance lai bu kel hoi ma khat i ama tang thu agel na blar mo kaya e sia do khup chi dan le lang do khup khotami pa chi dan na hi tenga aman a ama tang thu chi dia ma gel na khari na wang yam chi le hillbilly elegy ina ara movie khong nang bolum hillbilly elegy atang thu sim leng pen nasma mai na zon pia zong anh would không thể gửi thấy trong sang khát này lại son son nè background chắc chắn là vice president din muốn đi ngã trong cái kilo lâu khát thì rồi pia rồi như na anh u bang del nars như na ai api le apu anh u la api le apu na ke mina hak sat na tampi tak na na pal khai na na pu khai na yet lai bu bai sim tak chiang na thang a wai ma mai mo lamet nang pia hi bam chile ei dầu mi te zong ipian hiện na singtang kodon mualkom pilna kitchen na kipan hir hello ma hi ngai zona to pan ong lam sang thi chi bang ong pi na ki thanga chi takin ngai hillbilly elegy ei pawin yen leng khotami singtang pa ka tamlo na ai chedi a memoir of family and culture in crisis JD Vance pen Ohio State panina ama pen Kentucky a khanglian mo ai Kentucky a pianga khanglian tu Ohio pana senator nga ina senator nga khitak chena vice president dinga Trump ina tel ngia thina thupi ma akampau te jong thupi sai ina ama pen gal kap marine US marine ina Iraq khonga deploy ina to tak cha veteran ong su tak chi mai ni gal kap lu ina to gal kap te adi nga hamphat na banga GIB la ki chi khat te tu to scholarship nga ina Yale University law degreeของงะตกตัวบางดานี่นะไอ้ตั้งถูซิมเลยหังเป็นlaw จริงเราเด็กตักไอ้ยี่โดยเขาบังการละสวกแต่ยี่ดานี่ala sangka danเขาหักสเปลมาไอ้presiden itu Fabian na tuan vice president na singina keban katupi sim ama cima ini kan nggak isan mak isan apa pangzoi sih kisah apa pangzoi sih bang pen mak kum som di koi panena kum ngaba na apa pangzoi khatina aya atang tu pen inspiring ma khang thak te na JD Vance tang tu sis thei I thei pak chena em jong thala thei yang pasien ngom pi pe le ama ana en high school jong a zo lo vi ve mo kai api pu te mo aya dim takin na ke mo tua hiya memora ama tang tu gel na api le pu tang tu jong gel ay to bela ma tang tu chini na tua Munich Munich security conference tu kuma atugen na khat en le hang lu thoi sa kai men tua khata full bel ingai man le hong man khol ke ni na ya tu nga again te la ka thupi ka sak diak pen bayam chi le um religious freedom le free speech na se takina ko va hi ma biak na so tak na le so ta ka I pa again lop te again thei ding chi na se takina nge ni hi na ni en ni pong le
Incredible event. We're, of course, thrilled to be here. We're happy to be here. And, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is, of course, our shared values. And, it's great to be back in Germany, as you heard earlier. I was here last year as United States Senator. I saw...
Ethiopian sakibang chi khathina amagen pe he den chenga tua reaction tuam makai pol khatina share value nei lo hiang I share value chi pen I common belief I chidem I value pen common non lo hi chia khat bang tu anuga ko pe la yam athugen khat bang nonggen tak chena religious freedom khong na se takang gen tak chiang ina amao sian gel leng I walk lamte left lamte na biak na swa tak hi abortion clinic atungen te ko amat teu chemai ni amao ngai shun na pen hi religious war biak na nak pan piloi tak chianga LGBTQ lampang te ai ke le to te pen kimuneo hi chi lampan na ngai sun zo na to pen I value ki bang non lo hi chi lam kho nga ngai sun hi ma hi atugen na khat ke ngai som zel le
Foreign Secretary David Lammy joked that both of us last year had different jobs than we have now. But now it's time for all of our countries, for all of us who have been fortunate enough to be given political power by our respective peoples, to use it wisely to improve their lives. And I want to say that, I was fortunate in my time here to spend some time outside the walls of this conference over the last 24 hours. And I've been so impressed by the hospitality of the people, even of course, as they're reeling from yesterday's horrendous attack. And the first time I was ever in Munich was with my wife, actually, who's here with me today, on a personal trip. And I've always loved the city of Munich, and I've always loved its people. And I just want to say that we're very moved.
Nidang ina Munich ya kong pailay na senetada ni na kalomno to kong payo chima alomno usap ni na nasya takina JD at lochin na ding na hu alom nu pen bel kalate hi na kala gindemi hi na ma bel biang na lama chilen Hindu na hibil belina mo kena Christian bel ke ya hi JD pen ai let Vice President Pavel RC hi na pasien mama khat ma.
And our thoughts and prayers are with Munich and everybody affected by the evil inflicted on this beautiful community. We're thinking about you, we're praying for you, and we will certainly be rooting for you in the days and weeks to come. Now, I hope that's not the last bit of applause that I get, but we gather...
Again, pen bang chidia how shim di kai chenga to introduction khun bedu pen hi pen atom na hi loading lamen ngi chi chamni na tomo hi Munich Security Conference 2025 to kisai na hi Munich Security Conference pen kam som sa gi khong kumsima pai khomina NATO panai zong US panai zong ina China India panai zong na mun tom toma kam som sa gi peace through dialogue chi to be zanga ma te ma ki ho kholem ding na leitung bu pa khamuan na gal mon na om na ding chi na setaka promote te hi manuna hi kumsima akinai to hina som gu lum yam khadik chingal banga to ki pana gam tom te hi bangina security conference anei den wi to communica 2025 ani na tenga ama zong to gen kha khadi ma.
At this conference, of course, to discuss security, and normally we mean threats to our external security. I see many great military leaders gathered here today. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany too. Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values.
Aman, yeah, again, na pen. To threat iti. Russia Hong Ukraine te vai lo zoi na china. Ama ngai shun na tu tung pen. Adia ka Russia te Hong Ukraine te Hong kilem na ding nan. Deu gen ding. Chimai ni tua. Ding na alamat da uzong na hi khathi. Ay ma ama anggen nok pen. Ala thulam dang khat pi khat na hi mo kai de. Ina chimai ni I tua tu tunga Russia do khop ding vai lam to kisai khap ma lo ding na anggen nok pen den cha ngai tu lai le hang. Biang na suata na le free speech am the na ding mo.
Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy.
Censorship to kisai ama ublo te gente dia gente dia mau usanan to kitualo te pen censor pa pau to pen tu malo misinformation gente dia America zong na setaka again we to gente dia covid lai bang pen covid pen China pan hi coronavirus vaccine pen effective lo ji ho akipan ai kele amau dilam te ina amau gum lo khat pe pen chimai ni Hunter Biden laptop Hong Kong zong to pen a share kha pe pen censor I pen misinformation china free speech am ngiat lo amau dei lo na thu te akigen kha le pen censor pa pau to censorship to kisai misinformation da na tu adina mi khadin ama up na gen lo dia ka Christian te pen ama up na ki gen thailo ama free speech nei thailo to nasa ta na tu tung address ai na lungdam hoi khema ma sai.
But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. And I say ourselves because I fundamentally believe that we are on the same team. We must do more than talk about democratic values, we must live them. Now, within living memory of many of you in this room, the Cold War positioned defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War. They lost because they neither valued
Russia
nor
lampang te Hong Kong to Cold War to kisaya nidanga akido khen tak tak lo Cold War am ngi na US le Soviet Union ki kala to te Hong agwa Soviet Union lampang agwa na jong gente ne election a cancel da nu election ma de lo bangai le cancel ziaw chi ta pola ki pan ma de to kol kama piang te da na to ran te Hong Kong pelawan gen have ve den cha to I focus no pe na le religious freedom ta free speech van gen na hi mo to table ahuam pia gen chimai ni
respected all of the extraordinary blessings of liberty. The freedom to surprise, to make mistakes, to invent, to build. As it turns out, you can't mandate innovation or creativity, just as you can't force people what to think, what to feel, or what to believe. And we believe those things are certainly connected. And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear.
Mi gam tuam panina gal ka bu te akipan wa de mi thu PV ve mi mai lo teng pai khom na to tenga Thugen kha chi bang pen ne ra lo mo ne ra lo
what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action.
Numei tegen siat na gentenen feminism lampang gen selo gen gentenen ya feminism hoi lo na hong en ilung sima khat gen khele ama ngai shuna to khele misogyny gil lo na tom hoi lo da na ngai censorship pe pa pa wa te hong ki pan tai to nya
I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burning.
to na gen te na dia Sweden bang so nung jaga Sweden mang jeria Koran Muslim te lai siang tu hal te pol ma te to Christian te bang ki mani na sa takina ki mo pai
that resulted in his friend's murder.
alom
And as the
panangon
judge
alom
in
te
his
khat
case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief.
group khat te
And
te
perhaps
Christian
most
te
concerningly,
lo
I look to our
Amao,
very dear friends, the United
te
Kingdom,
na to ki lo ik
where the
lo
backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in
Okay,
particular
gente.
in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off
ตัว
crazy
เป็นที่เกี่ยนกับตัวAdam Smith ตัวกิไซAdam Smith Connor เป็น abortion clinic ยังsilent prayer ฟังอีกใจเลยตายที่จะทูฟังเงี้ยนี่นะแต่เลยofficer ผลิตเตะขันปะไปนะผลิตเตะขันปะมุยนะนั่งบางทีเนี่ยมันจะเกี่ยทุ่งเงี้ยบางอย่างนั่งเงี้ยตัดเจียนะก็ลองไงนู้ตัวนี้ดังนี้นะที่ngaนาวกิเพียดไงมันตัวกัสตากับเพียดตัวดิ่งนะทุ่งเงี้ยถึงก็จีเลยกี่มันเฮลมอกเอบ่สมตั้มปี legal fee เบย์นะตัวเกนนะฮิตอกิสยาAdam Connor yung Fox na interview na katya omina to kat en nuam leo hangina free speech to kisay na siya tagalom panong gen mo kay takchalom table ahe mama di ko himong ay be call up one more time
Connor, who was highlighted in the speech, joins us now, along with Senior Legal Communications Officer for the Alliance Defending Freedom International, Lois McClatchy Miller. Welcome to you both. What an honor to have you both on. I'm going to start with you, Adam. How surprised were you that Vice President Vance chose to highlight your story as an example of how Europe is losing its values?
I was incredibly surprised.
Here ben Adam Connor mo thungen mat le hena thuak pa hi na hi taklama ben lawyer nu hi na ya ben thudong nu
I had no idea it was going to happen. I was I'm a physiotherapist. I was treating a patient. I just had a few minutes gap between patients, and Lois's number came up on my phone, so I quickly answered it. And she said, the Vice President of America is talking about your case, Adam. So it was...
break ni lai takina se wan khara ichianga tua break ni lai takina mi khadina alom te khadina message khakina Vice President pa na tang tu ya ngen kha hi chi ma ina ma mi mal tang tu ina ai zonga mi pi te chi mai ne tam zon bel hi bang khong gen security to ke sai lo hi achi wai again seten ayat denjia abekin belen man ke hangina Vance in Bangeniam chile new sheriff in town go pe house attack om ta hi me Washington DC ya house attack om ta me na ama to ki bang nghiat lo ding hiung tai mane na I ko to na sep khop ding le hi Munich to security ang pai khom te na ko to sep khop ding yu ra le religious freedom le free speech na sa ta ka nong ha jam pi ding chỉ là và vào số về ở bằng câu định là nó dự kiến mi mal không tôi bằng là mặt mặt lệ pen ông kỳ mà ông kỳ pen on lục đi chỉ là tôi bằng liền liền khá là long pan khóc tất cả warning bapia ina Europe makai te amai santa wa hi mi mal story mà thế hi pas dia ga Christian te ki bol sen na pen na se daga và hú xuống về thu pi mà Christian te đi nga thu pi mà hi Adam interview nan ngai
It was incredibly surprising, and I'm very grateful to them for highlighting this case.
So take us back to when you were in front of that abortion clinic. Why were you there, and what were you doing?
So I've been part of 40 Days for Life for a few years, and we pray, we offer help to women, and
abortion clinic yang amau ni som ni ta 40 days prayer for life ji na ibanga paki hel se lu si hin te ading in naw ki phiat te ading in athung et sak ni chi pen to group ki pol na khada ma jong khai chenga to tenga ki hela ke jong to phok na avak thu wangen hing chi ma.
We have a phone number that people can call. I wasn't doing any of that on this occasion. On this occasion, I had no banner. I wasn't saying anything aloud.
Banner zong ba to hi pe ma lo ma te hi kan te dia baby killer lar chi hoa ki pan mo pai na bang mai lo ama ana sep na to cha va pa ya silent prayer back avenue hi mo kai to pen British ten man hi mo kai ve mo ma kai ten chi bang to bang nem num ho na om ding le pen mai lama new sheriff in town ka house ta kom tai min na house lui ki lai tai to bang pe ma in Europe kam te wa to bang hi non keun achi hi mo kai ve JD Vance ma.
I wasn't even particularly close to the clinic. I was behind a tree, obscured from view, and I was there for not very long. I was there for about 3 or 4 minutes, silently praying. I wasn't interfering with anyone, and these two officers came up to me, asked me what I was doing. I said I was praying. And then amazingly, shockingly, they asked me what was the nature of my prayer. And it was my answer to that question that I was praying for my son, Jacob, who they knew had died in an abortion, that led to my prosecution.
Atapa, ni atapa, piang lu atapa so be. Tua alom ngai nun abortion pi chianga. To pen avasun lu kisa mate. Thua wangen in achi to pen mat le hen thua kina hi to kisai kongen no bang ya chi le religious freedom Europe non lo de den cha thu na ngai le gen to na ya eremina ke be kilo hin mata mun to ma hidana bolsen na thua Ireland na tale ya UK sum pek ka jong ke pen tua teng la ka them khat be hin ke sanga case gig zo na se zo mi vice president ni rong gen khat kalung da ma ya ke sanga na se zo thuak na se ma tam pio mai menina to tarin thung na nget sakun chi na Europe campaign ngai sun le hang ama muslim gam to jong kinai chianga muslim tel hau chi ta hau chi mai ni ya oil gas to hau chi ta hau chianga Middle East pana pem homuna Pakistan hong pan India pan hong pem hom muslim te tam chi ta ta bai chianga England bang London me ya bang nung lama hi mi vom te lu tuam te mo ina to ma banga England khosunga England khopitea ameya te hupen mi vom lutuam te mo kai to tak chama pen Christian te murai chianga Jews le Christian te murai tak chianga pen tun Christian le Jews te ari ngina ma ban bing sem amau nanwaya to pen mu kholai chia hi pen issue neu tham to neu ma to ki pathanga vice president Vance na nasya ta kina bagen hi to men na tupi ile lungda muai sa yang mate ina Hindu ten tabel Christian te tu chiang in Manipur India khong Manipur khonga bang chidia aki ikyo the ki aiven mundang khonga bel tu ya America khong liana bel Hindu ten amao Christian te ong sepi zo mate mi Muslim te sang ai India khonga bel agilo ma mauna tun putramina nasya ta kena modiong vi khen la thunget na Manipur ของบางสงนัชชะตะกันนะของอุกโซเลวอีบาง religious persecution นำนอลดดิ้งนะคริสเตียนเตจิขัดทุกมีเตนทุกดดิ้งเละตัวตัวทุกเปียง vice president ทุกนะตุ้งตัวนะกระทั่งนางเชร์อย่างนี้บางทีแล้วมันยุโรปกับมาไกลปีเตกียงกับตัวต้องบางอย่างงามเอวแล้วอีกจะหมดหางสันมาอีนะว่าตาหอยสมาไม่ยิงจิตตัวยันนอนปะนี่นะลุงดามิตัวปาทุปาจินิลี